All right, so here we are where it all happens. So we're going to step it up a little, and we're going to talk about George Washington and just how incredibly astonishing, risky, gutsy it is for him to make the call that he's going to make in order to cross this Delaware River. Of course, it's a very beautiful day out here, very beautiful, nice looking river, but wasn't that way on early Christmas morning of 1776. This river was close to freezing, almost freezing, which meant there was ice in it, and the ice is going to obviously make it pretty hard to go across. I want to get up close here just so you can see if we can get a look for you to see that the water is, of course, water is moving from my left to right here. Now, the boats are going to have to go straight across this. So they're trying to make it across the stream. Of course, it's not going to be a problem for the ferry up here, but it's going to be a problem for a lot of people trying to cross here. They're going across the direction of the water, and they have a lot of ice to contend with. It's going to be a nor'easter that day, a terrible day. Now, even before all of the weather problems, a lot of people are telling. You can see here the bridge. We're going to take that on the next section of these videos. I'm going to take you across, and we're going to follow along where the army went. But even before the issue of weather happened, there were many people advising Washington against this move. And their issue, and I'm going to walk you up to the ferry here, their issue was that you're risking the whole army. You'll lose the whole war if this happens. If you leave Pennsylvania to go to New Jersey, is what General Gates, who's now his second in command, now that Lee is gone, if you leave Pennsylvania to go to Jersey, what's to stop them from just crossing over, getting into Pennsylvania? Now they have a direct line towards Philadelphia. So beyond that, they're going to tell Washington that his plan is too complicated. And Washington does have a penchant for making plans that are a little too complicated, that always seem to require people to meet up at an exact specific time, which is always hard to do. But let me give you an idea of this. Now, Washington's plan is to cross in 3 places. Here we have McConkey's Ferry. That's this spot right here, which I'm going to walk you over to in a minute. McConkey's Ferry is where George Washington is going to conduct the main assault. And he's going to have 2,400 troops. Mercer's going to be with him. Knox is going to be with him. Sullivan is going to be with him. And you have to understand, they're not just crossing this thing. They're crossing with horses. They're crossing with cannons. Down the way is where Ewing is supposed to go. So here we have this chart here. And as you can see, this is the almost 10 miles that the army is supposed to march. Here we have Trenton, where the battle's going to take part. Now, the key is in this part where they're walking, it's got to be done in secret. The British can't know, or the Hessians can't know that they're there. So the reason they're going to start crossing around midnight is they're going to have hours of darkness. The weather's going to destroy that. But anyway, that's the plan. So they're going to walk along here, and then Ewing is going to cross. Ewing's going to cross up here at the Trenton Ferry, and then Cadwalader's going to cross beyond where this map is. Ewing is going to cross in that particular place with 600 people to stop any retreat from happening. Cadwalader is going to cross in order to stop the soldiers at Bordertown from reinforcing. Fortunately, as we know, General Van Donop is going to fall in love with Betsy Ross, maybe? We don't know. But He's going to be busy those 3 days. He's going to be occupied for those 3 days. And so that's not going to end up being a problem, which is good because, yes, Washington over here is going to cross, but Ewing's not going to make it across, and Cadwallader's not going to make it across. And, you know, a lot of people, well, how come they didn't make it when Washington made it? You should know that the water's different in each spot, very different circumstances. But I want to take you up to take a look at McConkey's Ferry here. And as we do this, tell you a little more about General Gates. General Gates is so opposed to this, and General Gates, now that Lee is gone, General Gates really feels like he's the person who should be the commanding general. On the day where the attack is supposed to happen, and Gates has been arguing that this is a bad idea, someone hands George Washington a note from Gates. And he says, what's this note? Well, Gates is over. He's going towards Congress, which is actually in Baltimore, because they're fearful of the British getting to Philadelphia. So here we have this original ferry. This was a tavern on the outside of the ferry, and we can maybe kind of see on the inside here. Of course, closed like everything else right now, but yeah, not able to see too well. But this was a tavern, and you had people who were loyal to that's not going to work. We had people who were loyal to the American cause on both sides of this ferry. So that's, of course, going to be an important thing. You got a lot of people signing over agreements to support the king in New Jersey. You have people who have given up. You have an army that many of whom are going to be going home on December the 31st because Congress has wanted to keep has only wanted to have people have 1 year terms of service because they're very fearful of a standing army and the dangers that that produces. George Washington has determined that he's going to do this thing. And once he determines, that's it. Okay? Once he determines that he's going to do it, nothing is going to change his mind. So when you have this issue with the weather, people go to Washington and they say, well, you know, it's storming, it's windy, it's going to be impossible, this isn't going to work. He says, we're going. Well, it takes them 5 hours to cross instead of the 1 hour to cross that they thought it was going to take. And again, McConkey's Ferry Inn is what we're looking at. So once they've crossed, again, people tell Washington, well, it's not going to work now because we've lost the whole element of surprise. What they don't know is actually the Hessians have been warned about the attack anyway. But they say, they don't know the specifics of the attack, but they've been warned that an attack is going to happen. General Ruff is going to say, bring them on. He's not concerned. He's not worried. He's not going to worry about that. So anyway, so it isn't drunkenness, by the way, that's his undoing. It's overconfidence. They tell Washington, well, we can't do it. We've lost the element of surprise. He says, we're doing it. Then they say, listen, the gunpowder is all ruined. It all got wet in the crossing. We have no gunpowder. He says, fix bayonets. In other words, nothing is going to change his mind and cause him to say, you know what, let's pack it up, let's do this another day. The day before, on December 24th, on Christmas Eve, Dr. Benjamin Rush had been talking to George Washington, and as they were talking to each other, he sees him fiddling, writing notes, and fiddling away, and at one point George Washington gets up and walks away and throws this note into the trash can. Benjamin Rush picks it out of the trash can. It says, victory or death. In other words, George Washington has decided that he's doing this thing no matter what the circumstances. He's going to cross. Either they win this thing and the war continues, or they lose.